let's say the President Trump is reelected. How does this go forward? Do you
Well,
think
if he gets
that
reelected,
the
I
Justice
think
Department's
it's going
going
to
to
be
do
wonderful.
something?
I'll tell you why. First of all, let's talk about the censorship for a minute. I have already said he'll be the Teddy Roosevelt of our generation with regard to trust. You know, breaking up these monopolies. This monopoly that the big tech has is worse than any monopoly we had in the 20th century. You know, it's worse than big steel, big railroad, big banks. They virtually, you use it, I use it. If they cut me off, I have
You have no recourse.
800,000 people that follow me.
Yeah.
I have to be careful the last couple of days. I mean, I sit here and say, I better not put this out because they cut me off for 3 days now. People aren't going to get the information they need to go in and vote. But I've never done that in my life. I mean, I've never worried that I'm going to put something out and somebody's going to ban me. I didn't grow up in the Soviet Union or China or Venezuela. I grew up in a country in which you were allowed to speak, even if you said something stupid.
Yeah. What struck me about because I've been censored on
I know that
fraud issues, but just recently. To me, it's not even a Section 230 issue or a monopoly issue. It's business fraud. They're saying they're doing X, they applying a neutral principle when in fact they're doing Y. And, false advertising, defrauding investors, this is all straightforward enforcement. And what's so frustrating to me is that the levers of enforcement in the federal government, I don't think should be used for political purposes, but they should be used to advance the rule of law. And when you have fraudulent business practices by major corporations, the fact that they are untouched, to me, is as much of a scandal as Durham refusing to do much of anything over the targeting of President Trump with the politicos.
Well, I agree with that completely. I agree with that completely, and I think that here's a very, very stark difference. If Trump is elected, they get broken up into smaller groups that compete with each other, and therefore nobody can have that kind of power. They can't cut Tom Fitton off completely, or they can't cut Rudy Giuliani, or the president, or anyone else. We have other methods then and means to get to the same goal. Also, they'll start to get less expensive. Apple will stop making these things where they make the pencil so you lose it. So you have to go buy another pencil. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's by the way, that's a predatory practice that you could use in an antitrust suit. So I didn't mention that just accidentally. I used to do antitrust law. They definitely are violating the antitrust law, without any doubt. And I do believe you could apply federal laws to them on the theory that they're public utilities. They're public. Remember the old civil rights cases when black people couldn't be allowed at the counter, and they went and sat at the counter. And at first, the federal government wouldn't intervene. Well, what's the federal violation? It's a private counter. No, it isn't. Right. It's used as a public utility. If you allow the public to come into your home and have lunch every day, all of a sudden it's not your home anymore. You can't discriminate.
Yeah.
Well, so I think there are many legal remedies against them. If Trump is elected, they will all be pursued, and 2 years from now, they'll be taken apart like the big telephone companies were.
Yeah, my view is the party's over no matter who wins.
I think Biden will keep them together.
Well, but that may be on the monopoly
He's going to want them
side.
together, and Kamala Harris is going to want them together for re-election censorship.
But we saw from Justice Thomas that the Section 230 doesn't need to be changed if it's enforced by the courts appropriately. It could be the civic society.
Well, I agree with you.
Society who gets it done.
There are other ways to get to the goal, but they're longer. You'll only get there partially, and they're going to fight like hell to keep it together because the only thing, if they win this election, the only thing that won it for them is censorship. That's the key to winning this election, not even the pandemic. If the American people absorbed this story in a normal way over a 2 or 3 week period, he'd be down to about 30%.
Right.
They might even, if this story were handled normally, he might even have had to have dropped out.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.